to give the floor to Daniel Friedman, the Program Director for Peace in Our Cities, one of the very critical areas of our World Organization, as the Mayor of The Hague was saying before. Thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary General, to UCLG, to our hosts here in Morocco, and to everybody present from city governments, from civil society, philanthropy, and international organizations who are working to build safe and sustainable cities. My name is Daniel Friedman. I'm a member of the Peace in Our Cities Secretariat. Peace in Our Cities is a global network and a movement of nearly 100 city governments, as well as international organizations, networks, and local civil society partners dedicated to reducing urban violence and promoting safety through approaches grounded in human rights, inclusion, and in evidence. We were proud to help author the Peace Local Social Covenant Letter, underscoring the essential role that city and local leaders play in reducing violence. And across the board, we see how cities are how we will eventually achieve sustainable development. I think this is something that everybody in the room is already acutely aware of, which is that cities must have an even more explicit role in both delivering and in crafting the post-2030 agenda. Traditional multilateralism cannot continue on its status quo. Several of us for the Peace in Our Cities Secretariat are based in New York, and we've had the opportunity to start engaging in some initial post-2030 conversations. And while we greatly appreciate the member states that are present and the engagement that is had, we also see member states oftentimes fail to learn from each other, failing to reach consensus. And we do see that much of the world and too much of the planet is devolving into conflict. But in many issue areas, including in our own focus of advancing peace, we see that cities are thriving. Through Peace in Our Cities, we work to identify solutions to urban violence, connect cities to one another, and directly share solutions, experiences of what works to stop violence. And sometimes we directly support our member cities in these efforts. And through this, we've seen and participated in solutions and approaches that has led cities to actually reach and oftentimes even surpass development targets at a time when so many seem off track at a global or a national level. We've seen cities within our network that have reduced violent crime by 60% or greater. And because of that, we believe that cities need to have a central role in multilateral processes post-2030, not only through existing systems, but through new systems in the post-2030 agenda that can leverage the agility and the flexibility that local governance has. Cities know and cities already understand that in the future of sustainable development, we need to increase the focus on all forms of violence. Most global deaths do not happen within conflict zones. They happen in our homes, our streets, our communities. And non-lethal violence is even more pervasive. It has especially acute gender components, and it's rarely fully captured in existing data. And while cities are at the front lines of this violence, many multilateral institutions are actually being pushed away from this more holistic or preventative approach, and many are under pressure to return to what they call core security concerns or job creation. There's actually a concern that we may backtrack on this front, which would be potentially harmful given the development impacts that all forms of violence can have. We should rather be expanding the peace and violence targets in sustainable development to better account for the violence that impacts cities and impacts urban communities. And cities will play a absolutely pivotal role in this. We were asked in our letter how we can collectively strengthen prevention-first approaches, and I would just note that prevention-first approaches must be holistic, they must work across sectors, and that cities are made up of not just municipal leaders, but also of local civil society. They can partner in the delivery and create the partnerships that are necessary to achieve these goals. And for that reason, we will also urge a core role for civil society in partnerships with municipalities. And I just want to note, Amelia, you stated very well in your recent op-ed that global commitments must be anchored in local delivery. And with that in mind, we invite you to help craft a post-2030 agenda that more explicitly and centrally highlights the role that all of you here, that local leaders and civil leaders play in building peace and more sustainable development. There are, however, areas where the international and multilateral community can play a key role. For example, the draft outcome document states that we'll invest in mediation, early warning, social cohesion, and community-based prevention. These are all key areas where local communities are primed to lead, but where the multilateral system has expertise and resources to support. It's therefore critical to establish ambitious post-2030 targets that correspond to these needs. Cities never do this work in a vacuum or absent collaboration and community, so we now have the chance to build a global commitment steeped in the gravity and the community and exchange within and between cities.
Thank you.
Including through networks like ours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for rushing you. Sorry. But I do have a growing list of assembly members that are asking for the floor, and so I'm very concerned about the next session. But thank you very much to Peace in Our Cities for having been part of our Global Social Covenant and developing the letter around peace and conflict. It's very important for us to work together. So we very much look forward that these are going to be critical bases for the future of our work. In my